Today marks 1378 sharing lessons I learn and continue to learn with all of you. But I hope these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about progress. How to measure progress. I think it's such an important topic. How are we supposed to know if we are getting better, if we are improving, if we are growing, if we are developing, transforming, evolving, if we just do not know how to measure the progress? Because I love the beautiful saying that what is not measured is not getting improved. What is not measured is not getting improved. It might be that it's improving a little bit, but if you have a chance to improve 10 times more, measuring the progress, measuring the transformation, of course, is very, very important. So today we'll share what we're able to do. What we're able to do to really make sure that we're able to really improve that progress, improve the speed of the progress. So number one, define what the progress means to you specifically. I think that we need a really clear definition of that, because if you know exactly what it means, growth in your values, in your vision, in your purpose, and in your roles that you have in your life, like what are the progress? When you know exactly, then it's much easier to achieve that. So we need to really understand that. What are your life statement? What is the success that you're looking for? So that definition of success. Because when you know the definition of success, that means that you are able to really create the measurements, how to achieve that. When you know exactly what kind of values you pursue and what kind of values you want to live in alignment with, then you're able to really measure like how well you live based on those values. Because if you don't know what kind of values you're supposed to live by, you're not able to measure how well in alignment you live. So the definition of what you're exactly looking for is the first step. Number two is use a wheel of life framework, and what it means is that there's multiple things that we need to really think about it, and that is like health, relationships, the mental, emotional energy, there's the physical energy, and finances. That means that it's like maybe exploration of life. So that means that you really list most important areas. Most time is just a couple of the most important, of course, is the relationships. There's finances, there's like inner peace, and you write down the most important areas of your life. And then say, okay, like now I would love to rate my area of my life. It could be like, let's say that physical health. So we're from 1 to 10, where are you at? Are you like 1? That's terrible, like you overweight, you barely moving, or are you like 10? You almost expert level athlete. So where are you at? And wherever you would love to be. That's very important. So now if you said that I'm at 2, okay, so that I want to be at 6 or 7, so that means a gap. There's a gap of 5. So that means what do we need to do to really develop? And it could be in finance as well. How do you rate yourself from 1 to 10? Are you barely making, or you are really able to buy anything that you want for yourself and for others? And then I think that when we're able to really rate that, and there's a lot of things that we're able to really look into what is really measuring that success. For example, if you look into relations, do you have trust? Do you have quality time, emotional safety? Do you have support? So that means that the health is the most important part. Do you have energy level that you want? Finances is of course you don't have debt, like all those things that means that okay, what are the things that you will rate your area by? Because personal growth as well is something that we're able to measure. Like what kind of habits do you have? Are those habits is actually supporting you to moving towards the things that you really want? Number 3 is measure growth with certain metrics. Like it could be quantitative. That means that it's really trackable. So that means like you look into habits completed. Like that means that if you do meditation, that I do every single day, and you're able to really mark, like I did. Checklist. Now, checklist is good. I think that just the most important part is just not to overload with too many habits that is creating your personal growth. Because I think that the most important part is having 1 or 2 habits that puts you in a frame of discipline. When you have that frame of discipline, I think that the only 1, 2 habits, because I think that sometimes people get lost in the 5 habits that does exactly the same thing. So if of course you are not disciplined, maybe like 1, 2, maybe even 3 habits that really create discipline will be important for a long time. to develop that discipline, that character. But when you have that discipline and character, you don't need to have multiple 5 habits that really develops discipline. At that moment, you just really have 1 or 2 that really develops your mental clarity, and all other things goes to really taking actions. Qualitative and metrics as well. That means that you look into yourself and how well do you manage yourself. So that is emotional resilience. How quickly you bounce back could be a great measurement. So that means that if you had some kind of rejection and then used to think about that rejection for a whole day, or maybe even for a whole week, maybe able to reduce from week to 6 days, from 6 days to 5 days, from 5 days to 4 days, to 3 days to you know what I mean. That being able to really reduce and shrink that time, how long you spend in that negative emotion. That's an amazing thing and measurement to do. Exactly, relations as well. Like how many relations do you have that is trustworthy? Do you have more trust? Do you believe in them more? Do they trust you more? So that means really look into how we could really measure. And this life satisfaction as well. So look into emotions that you feel over the day. What are those emotions? Do you feel peace? Do you feel gratitude? Do you feel alignment majority of the day? Or do you still feel that there's a lot of negativity? There's grief, anger, envy, jealousy. So that means that when you look into that, where is that your day? It might be that 80% of your time is in negative frame. So that means that we are not able to switch from negative to positive, but what we're able to do incrementally transition out from negativity to positivity, to gratitude, to alignment, to really to joy, to peace. So that means that we say let's measure. I did probably about 70% negative, then about 60%, and then 50%, and of course we're moving to that positive frame. Number 4, the most important part, if we want to really measure the progress, is reflect constantly. And I think that we're able to ask what I'm grateful about today. That's a beautiful blessing question. What did I learn this week? What was the biggest lesson of this week? What really was the needle moving activity that I did this week that really allowed me to achieve the things that I wanted? What I would do next week differently. That's a beautiful thing. That means when we think about progress, we want to make sure that we keep doing what's working and changing and pivoting the things that is not working properly. Sometimes the strategy is great, sometimes the tactic is wrong. So that sometimes during the weeks, we're able to really adjust our strategies to really do the same thing, but just in a different way, and we're able to get much better results. And be able to ask, okay, are we stuck in the old patterns that is not working? And if we're able to say yeah, that is a pattern that I used to do in the past, and I need to change that. And when we change that, we're able to achieve success. What would make next month more meaningful? That's a beautiful question. It's not more successful, not full more results. I think that sometimes we need to understand that we need to create more meaningful. When we have a more meaningful month, when we have inner peace because it's a meaning, with a purpose, with a vision, at some point, it's 100% it will achieve results. But I think that when we sometimes pursue results without meaning, those results doesn't mean anything, and we're not able to achieve it because we're not able to give 100% to the result that is not meaningful at all. Number 5 is avoid traps, because there's a lot of traps in growth. Number 1 is probably the most common is comparison yourself with other person. And sometimes when you look into the steps where people start, you are starting from step 1, and a lot of times other people start from step 500 because of different upbringings, different nature, different nurture that they came from. So that means we need to understand that other people have different beginning. So if we are in a step 1 and the other one is step 500, then when you compare, it's basically comparing apples to pears, and at that moment, of course, the conclusion will not be helping you to really move forward. Number 2 is perfectionism. Because progress is not about perfection. We always to pursue progress or perfection. Because what seeking perfection does is a lot of times slowing down our progress. Because we overthink, we overanalyze, we're trying to really fix that one thing rather than really doing more and more and more activity is always great to develop. But if we don't take action because we're thinking and analyzing, that's of course will be a massive hit on our progress. And probably a very important lesson as well that we need to not neglect the inner game. Sometimes we want to progress so much externally that we forget that there is such an important topic is internal growth. So that means we're not supposed to say that, oh, I really want to really progress in life and financially, but I'm neglecting everything what is inside inner peace. And I think that's why so many people who are very successful financially, they are miserable because they lose the game of inner game, lose that inner game. And that's what's very, very important to really not neglect that, but really say that I want to track progress inside of me first before I track things outside of me. And I think that's one of the best ways to really track the progress is have that before and after mentality or model. And that means it's be able to choose sometimes like different periods. It could be a week. Okay, what happened before a week, after a week? Then it could be a month. Before a month, after a month. Before 6 months, after 6 months. Before 1 year, and then that really gives you different time frames to understand, okay, how much did they grow in last year? How much did they grow in the last 5 years? And I think that is a beautiful thing. And the beautiful thing is with the body, with its physical body, you're able to see how it's changing, with the mental clarity, with emotional stability, emotional resilience, with everything. We're able to see that before and after. The most important part, I think, that inner peace, the same as like a physical body, is that you exercise for a week to 2 weeks. You're doing the right things, you're doing the right habits, but you do not feel any difference. You don't see any difference. But at some point, there's a massive hit, and you start to see that there's a massive difference. You have more energy, you start to look better, and things start to change very, very fast because it starts to compound. And that's, again, one thing is that when we think about the progress, a lot of times, majority of times, progress is not linear. As its beginning is very, very, very slow, and that's where most people quit. And then there's like handle stick, like it's just sticker, like it just goes very, very fast. And we just need to wait long enough, patient enough, aggressive with our actions, and patient results, and then we'll be able to achieve that massive success and progress. And we'll be able to see that there was a massive progress. I was developing for 5 years, and all of last year I saw like incredible, immense change. I think that's exactly what majority of people need to go through to really get to the next level. So I hope that you will look into okay, what are the things that you measure in life right now? Because I think that, as I said at the beginning, what is not measured doesn't get improved in a level that it could. So I hope you just win, and see you tomorrow.